have a story about why you did it, a considered, coherent, entirely plausible account of your own motivation. You have told this story to other people. You have told it to yourself. And on some level, the level that stays just below full examination, you know the story is not the whole story. That the motivation is more complicated than the account, that the account was constructed after the fact, that the fact preceded the justification by some distance, and the justification arrived to make the fact livable. Fyodor Dostoevsky was the most precise diagnostician of this mechanism in all of literary history, not because he observed it in others, because he confessed it in himself. His conclusion, drawn from decades of examining his own moral pretenses with a precision most people cannot sustain for 5 minutes, was that self-deception is not a failure of intelligence, it is a product of it. The smarter the person, the better the story they can construct. And the better the story, the less likely they are to examine what it is covering. The ordinary understanding of self-deception treats it as a mistake, a confusion between what is true and what a person wishes were true, a failure of clarity. Dostoevsky's framework says this understanding misses the mechanism entirely. Self-deception is not a failure to see. It is a decision about what to look at, made below the level of conscious choice, executed with the full resources of the person's intelligence. The person who deceives themselves does not say, "I will construct a story that makes my behavior acceptable." They say nothing. The story constructs itself. From the available materials, the genuine parts of the motivation that sit alongside the parts not being examined, a coherent account assembles, presents itself as complete, and is accepted. Dostoevsky was specifically interested in moral pretense, not self-deception in general, the specific version that presents itself as virtue, as care for others, as the admirable motivation that any reasonable person would approve of, because this is the most difficult version to examine. The person who deceives themselves about a selfish motivation can, in a more honest moment, recognize the selfishness. The person who has constructed a story in which their motivation is genuinely good, in which they are acting from care and concern and the sincere desire to help, has far less incentive to look beneath the story. The story is flattering. The story is, in important respects, partly true. There is genuine care in the motivation. There is genuine concern. The account is not false. It is incomplete. And it is the incompleteness that the story is designed to prevent you from finding. I am doing this for them. I am doing this because it is right. I am doing this because I care and they need it, and I am the person who can provide it. Dostoevsky's question is the one the story cannot absorb. What are you getting from it? Not what are they getting. What are you getting? The most sustained examination of moral pretense in all of Dostoevsky's fiction is The Grand Inquisitor, the chapter in The Brothers Karamazov in which Ivan Karamazov tells his brother a parable, a thought experiment about a figure who has spent his entire life doing good. The Grand Inquisitor is 90 years old. He has devoted his life to the relief of human suffering. He has built institutions, organized care, reduced pain where it could be reduced. He believes this is love. It is not hypocrisy in the conventional sense. The care is real, and beneath the genuine care, constructed so perfectly that the Inquisitor himself can no longer find it, is the other thing, the need to be the one who provides. The need for gratitude. The need for the power that benevolence confers. The need to be necessary to the people he serves. The love is real. The need beneath the love is also real. The need has been using the love as its cover for 90 years. This is Dostoevsky's most important observation about moral pretense. The good motivation and the self-serving motivation are not alternatives. They coexist. The good motivation functions in part as the cover under which the self-serving motivation operates without examination. The second example is the one most people recognize in a quieter form. Research on helping behavior consistently finds that the most generous people, the ones who give most consistently, who are most reliably present, who describe their motivation in the most purely other-regarding terms, often have the most at stake in the identity of being generous. Strip the generosity and you do not find nothing. You find a very specific version of self, the person who gives more, who shows up, who is needed, that cannot survive without the behavior that confirms it. I would do anything for them. I am always there when it matters. I give more than I receive, and I do it without complaint, because that is the kind of person I am. Dostoevsky's test is the one most people decline to run. Remove the witness. Give the help invisibly, without the account, without the knowledge, even your own, that it was given. Watch whether the motivation survives the removal of its observer. The third example is the one that closes the distance entirely. You have done something that cost you something genuine, something that another person benefited from. Something that, if you described it, someone else would say, that is a good thing. And somewhere in the account you carry of it, there is a line that is not for them. A line that is for the part of you that needs to know the sacrifice was seen, that needs the record to reflect the cost, that needs the good thing to also be testimony to your goodness. Dostoevsky does not say that disqualifies the good thing. He says the account is not complete, and the person who cannot complete the account is not yet in an honest relationship with why they do what they do. Think about the most recent good thing you did for someone else, the genuinely good thing. The thing that required something of you. And think about the interior account of it. Not the version you would give to another person, the version that runs in the background when you think about what you did and why. I did it because they needed it, because it was right, because no one else would, because that is who I am. Hold that account for a moment. Do not reject it. It is probably largely true. Now add one question to it. What did you get from doing it? Not what did they get. Not what was the outcome. What did you get? The confirmation that you are someone who shows up. The evidence that you are needed. The quiet satisfaction of being the person in the room who gave more. Diga. The way that helping someone positions you relative to them in a way that is not purely about their welfare. None of that disqualifies the good thing. None of that makes it not good, but it makes the account incomplete, and the incomplete account is the self-deception. Think about the relationship in your life where you are most consistently the one who gives more, where the imbalance is known by you and perhaps by both of you, and has not been addressed. Dostoevsky's question, what does the imbalance provide? No, not what does it cost. What does it provide? The position it creates, the identity it confirms, the way it organizes the relationship so that certain other questions do not have to be asked. If they needed me less, what would I be in this relationship? If I gave less, what would they need from me that I might not be able to provide? If the imbalance resolved, what would be left? The Grand Inquisitor has given for 90 years and has never asked what would happen if the people he serves no longer needed him. If the account of his goodness had no new entries. If the story ran out of material, you have a story about why you did it. Now find the part of the story that the story was designed to cover. Not the lies, the omissions, the part that is technically not in the account. Because including it would make the account something other than the story of your goodness. That part is there. It has been there the entire time. It is the part that has been running the operation. Dostoevsky did not believe self-deception could be eliminated. He believed it was structural, one of the things the psyche does to preserve a workable image of the self. The capacity to construct a version of events that is livable is not a flaw. It is a necessity. His framework does not ask for its elimination. It asks for the examination of the seam. The seam is where the account of the good motivation and the unexamined motivation meet, where the story is technically accurate but not complete, where one more question, applied with genuine curiosity rather than defensive reflex, would produce an honest answer. The Grand Inquisitor's tragedy is not that he is selfish beneath his goodness. Every person is selfish beneath their goodness. His tragedy is that the story has been refined for 90 years into something seamless. There's no visible join between the genuine love and the need the love has been serving. He can no longer find the seam. The examination is no longer available to him. The story has become the truth, not because it is true, but because it has been told so many times, to himself and to no one, that it has displaced what it was covering. The person who can still find the seam is not in a worse position than the Inquisitor. They are in the only position worth being in. The seam is where the examination remains possible, where the honest account can still be accessed, not because it is easy, but because it has not yet been replaced by the version that is easier to live with. Dostoevsky's confession, the one he made repeatedly across his fiction, was that he could see his own seams, that the gap between his public account of his motivation and the full account was visible to him, uncomfortably visible, often in public, in the work, that this visibility, this refusal to let the story become seamless, was the only form of honesty available to him. Not the honesty of being good. The honesty of knowing that the account of being good is never the whole account. And that the person who knows this, who can hold the story and the thing the story is covering in the same frame, is at least not deceiving themselves about being deceived. But moral pretense is only one direction self-deception runs. The other is inward, toward success. Dostoevsky documented something specific about people who punish themselves at the moment they achieve what they wanted. Not before, after. The guilt that arrives not when things go wrong, but when they finally go right. When the thing you worked for arrives and the first response is not satisfaction, but the need to dismantle it. Why you punish yourself for success, that is next.